Hello friend and welcome back once again to Gary Grigsby's Warned East. We're at the end of March still, after last episode's reorganization. Once again, we're going to deal with that now. We only have the Donets Basin left here. So let's take a look at that. So this is all looking relatively fine. Seems like 16th Motorized has recuperated pretty reasonably. I'm pretty happy about this. These guys are unready. I would have to get them all the way back. Let's take a look though, because we have... The Romanians are a bit of a mess. I have the Romanian Mountain Corps and the Cavalry Romanian Corps here. And this is a brigade, but still at 40%. And that's reasonably well. Most of the cavalry is now from the line. What I need is I have the Mountain Romanian Corps. Which needs to take most of these units. And that puts them at 7. How is the Mountain Romanian Corps that much closer than the Cavalry Romanian Corps? So much so that Cavalry Romanian Corps, there we are. The thing is that this is a cavalry division, and I really don't see why I should send a division there when I can just as well send a brigade to protect Taganrog. Definitely, yeah. So we got that. All of these guys will refit. This cavalry division is doing relatively well though. I'll keep them on ready. If they're on ready, they don't need extra stuff. These guys do need to refit. Those guys are under the OKH. Let's take a look because they're doing relatively well. And I guess they need to be on refit indeed. You have everything under control. They do have too much, but that's because these two are a bit overburdened. Now, I do have the 3rd Romanian Army. It actually has one too many units. So let's send the 10th Romanian Infantry Division, which still needs to recover because it's in terrible state. And I'm going to send those under the 4th Romanian Army, and they're going to rail out of there. All the way down. Okay, they need to unload on the next turn. That's fine. But that does mean that the 3rd Romanian Army is no longer overburdened, and I will have to still reorganize the Mountain Romanian Corps, but we'll deal with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get both of these out of there. And was it the 29th? It, yeah. Cannot be different, right? Oop. Especially those units that are below 10,000. They need to reorganize, so. But the 11th Mountain Infantry Division, yeah, they're also at 50%. Okay, now at this stage we have the 5th Light Division. It's pretty weak. Do I have any forces here? Probably on the next turn they can deal with that, but not now. I do have these guys. First of all, let's take off Leibstandarte. And in place, put the 262nd. They're on 3. So let's also take 5th Light. Put them on a refit, just like Leibstandarte. The 125th is not even doing that poorly. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take away, yeah, the 2nd Romanian Mountain Division. And in its place, I'm going to put the 125th. So they are going into Voroshilovgrad, also to refit. And I've taken off most of the Romanian units, but they need to refit anyway. Someone asked me, like, why don't you put all your units into theater boxes where they recover much faster? Yeah, that's true, but I do really, I don't want to say I like to keep it historical or whatever, but I do like to make it, you know, somewhat realistic where, you know, the Germans didn't really send it, you know, Italian units to Norway in order to recover or something like that. So I'm kind of doing it for that reason. It would be kind of weird at that. Let's see, they're going to 3, which should be enough, but let's see, because the 10th Panzer is also not doing super well. What I can do rather is take those guys out. And 23rd Panzer is also in a refit at the moment. Not even doing all that poorly. But 10th Panzer certainly is. The 27% TUE is disastrous. That still brings me the problem of those. Well, let's first get you in there. That doesn't help, sadly enough. What I could technically do to hold that position is probably get some reasonably powerful Italians there. Let's see, the Expeditionary Italian Corps is probably overburdened at this point. Yeah. So I'll just put these guys under the 17th Army normally. And get this a bit closer to the front. Alright. 5 out of 7 is not that bad. These guys are, like, to have 17,000 Italians, I think they can hold the line for a bit. At this rate, anyhow. All of those guys should stay like that. I probably could remove the 8th Mountain Infantry Division. These guys are 3. This is looking rather weak. In multiple places. That's right. I guess at 48. Much to my chagrin. 3rd Romanian Corps is a few units. The only thing that I can really switch is the 16th. I mean, in all fairness, all of these should get out. And it doesn't do the motorized much good. But I don't really see any other way at this moment. These Italians can recover there. They're at 59. It's not that bad, but for Italians, they tend to be rather weak. 63. I'll get the 100. Oh, you can't even go in there. All right. In that case, it's the Romanians that will rather bite the dust, because I definitely want the 132nd in there to refit. I mean, come on, they're at 25% TE. That's a joke. And these guys will move into that area to recuperate as well. Or they can even go into Taganrog, interestingly enough, to refit. Sure. Many of these are still in, well, let's just say dire straits, but not much I can do about that. So we'll see how that goes indeed. There are a lot of units that are actually recovering at the moment. So I do think the situation is somewhat improving, especially like in the north. We're having a solid line now, and they can't attack. Not really. There are some areas which might give some cause for concern, but if they don't move in here, I might just as well get some unit out there if it's going to start raining, and then I can start building up some of those fortification levels and stuff as well. I'll have a quick look at units that might be railing. Doesn't really seem like there's a lot. They're building that railroad there. And there certainly would not be any Hungarian units. There is the 7th SS Mountain Division at 98% TOE. Huh. 0 Panzerjägerturs. Huh. Well. You know where I'm sending them? Let's use the lower rail, actually. And let's see. No other units? Nothing at all? Sweet. This is look kind of artificially made, but I'm not going to say anything about that. Yeah, it seems like we're good. Alright, theater boxes. So the Western Europe, we actually have 15 too much currently. Let's take a look. So this turn is turn 41. No. So that means that this all happened. What's going to happen next turn? I want to see what happens in Western Europe. To Italy. It's a flak only. Construction battalion. Flag regiment. Construction battalion infantry. Construction battalion. Panzer division. Yeah, so if that's going to happen in the next couple of turns, I'm better off not taking anything. Getting a Panzer division, that's already like 8.8. So this is going to drain. Norway. Let's see if anything comes from Norway. Most likely very little to none. Doesn't look like it. So I can actually withdraw some for 6. And yeah, that I'm not going to be able to withdraw that Panzer division. I'm going to infantry is too much. The 280th static, huh? I can take 6.6, so technically I should be able to transfer the 214th. Nope. It seems to take a little bit more than what is out there. So now we're going to have to compensate. By a little bit at least. At least by 0.9. Which... Heavy Panzerjäger Company, and then they are heavy anti-tank guns. I say, well, we're going to the map. 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 Could send some French tanks over to Norway. And, oof. An entire Panzer regiment? I don't think so. But, yeah, let's send also a second replacement Panzer battalion. Let's just wait for a sec. Finland is 100, Garrison 101, Africa 109, 102, 103. Yeah, okay, well let's transfer these then. And to be honest, I guess I would rather have another infantry over a few panzers. I know that sounds nasty, but I do think ultimately that's going to be better. Once the weather is a little bit better. I'm quite inclined to send some of those things over. Weather for next turn is supposedly going to be the same. Oh no, it's all clear, so no more rain there. Right. One last thing. Manpower losses for the Soviets, 71,000 last turn. If we're looking at total men, it's somewhat climbing again, of course, because of that stuff. Yep. Once we get to the 1st of April, I really do wonder how my logistical situation will look like at that point. Like, obviously they can't send all the manpower there, but my the penalties for the rail transport will disappear, and I really do wonder what kind of effect it will have on supplies, etc. I think my units should be able to at least dig in a little bit, but not so sure anymore when they do that. Interesting that those are not air combat losses. Wonder if my planes get sent out at all. It's still a pretty bad situation with getting all the stuff there that's needed. At least they had quite a few operational losses here. That's good. Many of my units look very weak. So that is a bit unfortunate, actually. I cannot imagine these guys having that much supply and stuff. Huh. Pretty interesting. Wonder if they have like some serious units there, especially after next turn. I did not have any fortifications, but I held up well enough. Some attacks are just straight up silly. Like this makes no sense whatsoever. This is the Blue Infantry Division. Lost 7 tanks, but I'm happy they held. I guess just like these units are in a really problematic spot for me. Very curious to see, but they did hold at Mozhaisk again, even as an infantry only. There was a bit of a risk there. Also this does not look good. Did not know they were that weak, so we're likely gonna see a retreat there. Yeah. Screw me, wow. They looked a lot stronger on paper. Ah, great. These guys held. Wow, they actually held, huh? Yeah, I thought as much. Seriously. The thing is that I'm actually in a position where I really don't like this weather. I know that sounds kind of weird, as you would think that you would, but I'm not too pleased about this weather here. Actually kind of want those rains at this point. Especially since they now crossed a river here. Very conveniently. So I can only pray that they will have some serious rain on the next turn, basically. That's... But, every single turn that one of my units hold at this point, I feel is a blessing, really. I look very, very weak all across the board. Oh, wow. I do find it interesting how hard they push there, though. Lost a lot of men. But they did come in with tanks. They are down to 6,000, so that's definitely something to take into consideration. Up there too. But if I move these guys up or here, we'll have to see. Yeah, look at those losses. That's really harsh. Good. Funny how they're giving up that hex. I think they already lost it earlier. Or I lost that earlier after taking it. I'm not 100% sure about that. I would have to check it. Okay. I really hate it if they push in there. Because now I'm gonna have to beat them back. Will they hold? Yes, they did. Also the second time. Again going down, huh? And fortifications. Yeah, keep trying. I'm always happy when they do such weak attacks because it means these units are not there for a concerted attack like around this area. This also looks really weak. These guys can attack, but they can still put a heavy attack from there. There's heavy woods that makes it a bit easier to defend. Ah, crud. They must have missed those rolls. They were under the OKH, yeah, it makes sense. I messed that up because I shouldn't have had them under the OKH. It's no wonder they lost their rolls. And that was dumb, but then I suddenly needed to put those guys there. It was quite a mistake. It's 100% on me. If not 200% on me. Nope. Wonder if they put these on static, given that it's all 0. I find that very confusing. The only thing I can hope for there is they're gonna go move further back up so I can straighten that line. Especially this hex is very annoying. But this is of course the area where they got significant gains here. I had a very large part of this line. At the very least around Bologu here. Which I really wanted to have back, but it doesn't really look like I'm going to get that back anytime soon. Seem like their offensives are over, or most of them at least. If not almost all of them. Now they're going to form that line. We're going to see whether there are empty hexes that I can take. Sure would be interesting to see. Of course I do have a unit at Sarajevo at like 10% QE. Again, the tricky part is that Bologu is really the thing, that rail line that's basically allowing them to get all of that stuff. Lots of plane fights. At least when it comes to this, I'm kind of like contesting them a bit. Okay, April 5th. Got some unfortunate areas where things didn't go too well. Down in the south, they got a bridgehead across the river, unfortunately right before the rains. That kind of sucks. Really had hoped to keep that tight, but it wasn't meant to be. That's fair. I think ultimately the most important thing is going to be what the weather is going to be the next couple of turns. Like, we're on April 5th. And if we're going to be able to get those rains, that will be really important, because then the Soviets will basically just be unable to attack almost anything that I put in front of them. Which means that a lot more of my units can reorganize in the rear and things like that. So it will be a lot easier to get some kind of defenses set up so I can reorganize the panzers, etc. and make a plan of attack. But I will be unable to do that in the current situation because yeah, things are a bit tight there, but we'll see. I mean, I really have no clue how much better my supplies will be now that we no longer have those restrictions that we had prior to April here. My guess is that it's no super wonder, but anyway, we got the Bucket Brigade, the U.S. Navy's operational command. The eastern sea frontier is responsible for the coastal waters along the eastern seaboard from Canada down to Jacksonville, Florida, extending outward into the Atlantic a distance of 200 miles. In spring of 1942, the command is desperately short on suitable escort vessels for convoy duty. Before additional escort destroyers can be provided, the command institutes an interim arrangement known as the Bucket Brigade. Vessels outside of harbors are placed in anchorages, protected by netting after dark, and moved only under whatever escort is available during the day. As word of this and similar measures reach German Admiral Dönitz, he does not wait to test their effectiveness, but instead shifts his U-boats to a different area of the eastern Atlantic, where American anti-submarine measures are not as effective. His new area of operations includes the Bahamas, the Gulf of Mexico, the Yucatan Channel, and areas around Cuba. As a result, in May, more Allied shipping has sunk in the Gulf, especially off the passes of the Mississippi River, than off the entire eastern seaboard. Note picture, Vice Admiral Adolphus Andrews, Commander Eastern Sea Frontier, East Sea Front. Alright. Let's take a quick peek. Seems like they left Siastroy empty, and I'm gonna find a way to take advantage of that, because if I take that, then these guys will be isolated. That will give me another 30k or so after they've sacrificed themselves. Gonna beat these guys, plug the gap most likely. Nothing really to take here, but it seems like these guys at least recovered a little bit. Now it's 64%. So at least they're battle worthy again. That's very nice. I'm happy about that. Not all my units have recovered as well, but it's actually pretty reasonable, I think. I do think you see some serious reinforcements in quite a few units. So I'm actually really pleased at the results here. I cannot complain. Like, I have a lot of units that recovered here, so that's very good. Let's take a look at that weather for the next turn. It's not gonna rain anywhere, because you have to realize this is Leningrad. Like, our defense runs like this. So, and the weather on the ground, is it going to be mud? No, it's going to be light snow up here though. And the rest is still going to be snow for the next turn. Alright. We do see that the water levels are increasing here. Like, quite a bit higher. And here, indeed, we already have mostly water, barely any snow. That does not constitute mud. It's all light snow. So this will indeed most likely turn into light snow / mud pretty soon. Most of this is water, indeed. Yeah. Alright. Gonna wrap things up. Want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. See you then. Bye-bye.